Start.
Hi, I'm Corey Williams, and today I'm going to be interviewing George Stephenson.
Hi, I'm George Stephenson, and I'm most famously known for my locomotive, the Rocket.
Okay, George. Well, the first question to start off this interview is, what inspired you to build your first locomotive?
Well, to answer your question, in 1813, I visited a neighboring colliery to examine Mr. Bleckensop's steam boiler on wheels. His intention was to haul the coal out of the mines, but it still had some problems with it. It couldn't have a whole lot of traction, which Bleckensop kind of countered that by putting a ratchet onto it, which kind of gave it a little bit more, stability and traction to go up. But it still had frequent breakdowns, which I thought I could do better and make a better one.
Wow, that was very interesting. On to our next question. We found out you never had any formal schooling. How did that affect the creation of your version of the locomotive?
Well, that's a very good question. Many people don't know this fun fact about me, but when my son was in school, he would come home with his homework, and I would help him, but he would also help me, because a lot of the information that he was learning, I was learning with him. And through the homework that he brought home, that enabled me to learn more about education that I had never known about. This and the fact that I had an upbringing in mechanics helped me and my son efficiently build my locomotive. Yeah.
Wow, you sound like a really great dad. On to our next question. Did you have any personal roadblocks that affected your later success?
Well, that's another very good question. It's kind of a sad question though, because a while ago, my very first wife died, leaving me to parent my son on my own. And so in order to earn a little bit of extra income and money, I learned how to repair shoes, fix clocks, cut clothes for miners' wives, which all kind of helped me a little bit further with building my locomotive. And with a little bit of help of my friend, Sir William Fairborn, it just made it a whole lot easier.
I'm sorry to hear about your wife. I'm sorry for your loss. Anyway, on to our next question. Do you think your early experiences working with a Newcomen steam or atmospheric steam engine aided in your later invention of your version of the locomotive?
Well, that's a very good question. Now that I think of it, it really did have a big impact on me building my locomotive later in my life. Basically, the Newcomen atmospheric steam engine was used to pump out coal at a coal mine in Newcastle up at Tyne. And basically, I was working there at the age of 19 and helped me really understand how to be a mechanic and how to use all the different types of tools and the fundamentals of different engines and all that kind of stuff. It brought me to easily build my locomotive later on in my life.
That's very interesting how your work with the Newcomen atmospheric steam engine had such a big impact on your life. On to our next question. What was your first primary goal with the locomotive?
Yeah, another amazing question from you, Cora. So, to answer this question, basically, my first goal was to improve Bleckensop's little coal haul locomotive, and basically make it more practical, make it usable by the society, and make it just easier in general.
Amazing answer. On to our next question. Can you please provide us and our viewers a brief explanation of what exactly your locomotive is?
That was an amazing question. So basically, my steam engine, it was an improvement of Bleckensop's little locomotive. It can carry 8 loaded wagons carrying 30 tons of coal at 4 miles an hour, which isn't really the best. So I eventually improved that one as well, basically, which directed the exhaust up to a chimney, which pulled air and increased the draft, which highly improved its speed and carrying capacity, or not capacity, but it improved its efficiency And it made it practical, which is what my entire goal was.
Wow, that was an amazing answer. Thank you for that explanation. On to our final question of the day. Did you think that your locomotive would have such a big impact as it does on today's society?
Great question. Honestly, I had no idea how big of an impact that this truly would make on today's society. I did not plan for it to be such an amazing invention, me as a humble person. And it's like I originally just planned on improving what was already here, and I didn't mean to lead to this amazing invention, but I'm very, very happy to see how much of an impact this has with people using it for daily life to transport themselves and other things like food and other materials for daily life. And yeah, overall, I'm astonished as to see this invention, my locomotive, go so far.
Thank you, George, for such an amazing interview with amazing answers. We must have you back sometime soon. And I might have to invest in a train ride myself.